Hello everyone, this is Michelle. Welcome to my channel. Today I thought I would do a scrap room tour. So I have a couple of things. My husband and I have been talking about having a garage sale, and so always a great opportunity to go through all of our stuff and figure out what I want to keep, what I don't want to keep. I also have been catching up on videos over at Tiffany's site over at Let's Get Scrappy. I know she is doing just a huge deep dive into her scrap space. Now, I did something similar last September, and so my scrap room space is probably 80% of the way I like it and organized, but there's that 20% that I either didn't touch then because I was afraid, or I did touch it and it's not working out the way I wanted it to. So as I go through things, I will show you what works, what doesn't work, and what I plan on redoing. And so then maybe in summer sometime, I will just do a recap and follow up with what I changed, if that's working, or if I need to change it again, because sometimes you have to take a couple goes at things. So last September, I really thought about what I wanted out of my room. And so one of the things that, it's important that you know your style, and you see things on Pinterest or on YouTube and you're like, oh, that's amazing, I want to do that. And then you do it and it just doesn't work for you. And I had a few of those situations. And so I just really concentrated on what my priorities were. And one of the main things for me is being able to grab and go with things, because even though I have this scrap room space, I do go on a lot of crops. And so sometimes I found myself just grabbing whole bins, even though I just needed a few things out of there, because I did not want to take the time to go through and pick out the things I really needed. And so I tried to really, I hate to use the word minimalize, but I did eliminate quite a few things last September, and I'll probably eliminate a bit more in the next few weeks or months, and just things that, I mean, if I've had it, if it's almost as old as my daughter, who is 22, then, and I haven't used it, then it might be time for it to go. And there's not that many things that I still have that are quite that old, but you know what I mean. It's sometimes you spent the money when you spent the money. That's when you lost your money. And if you used it, then great. But if not, there's no point in holding on to it. That's my mentality anyway. And so the only thing that I hold all, I mean, if it's something that's really pricey, then I might have a hard time letting go. Or if it is something, a tool or something that, it might come back into style, then I don't want to replace something that I just got rid of like a year ago. So I'll probably hold on to tools and such. So, okay, so these are some of the main tools that I use. Obviously, a label maker. I think that's pretty common. If you love your handwriting, then great. Use labels and such. I am not that person, so I do use a label maker. I also use pouches quite a bit, and so this is something that this is one of the successes from when I started organizing last fall. And so this is a good example. This is my stencils. And so I keep them all here, so easy to grab and go when I want to go on crops, but stores really easily. And so I can either take the whole thing, because I do use my stencils quite a bit, but I also have them organized by categories. And so if I know I'm going to just be working on holiday Christmas stuff, I might just grab my winter and my shapes and well, I might grab everything but summer, who knows? But anyway, that makes it just really easy to take things with and kind of eliminate some having to sort through everything time. And so I have those in a pouch. I have multiple buckets that I keep things that I'm working on, because I'm not one of those people who can work on one project and just from start to finish. Sometimes I have multiple things going on. And so I have a couple of these buckets at my workspace that I keep the bigger things, so it can be separated by collection and still be somewhat tidy if I have multiple things going on. All right, I think that is it for a rundown of what my plan is as far as showing you my workspace. And so let's get to it. All right, so here is my scrap space. It is the back half of our rec room. And this part that I'm showing you now was the original part of the room. And then I begged for more space. And so then we put in this long bank of cabinets or cubbies here along this back wall. So if I did not mention it before, my husband's a cabinet maker. And so that did make things easy to customize according to what I like, etc. So why don't we start here on the left? And so I have, first of all, this is a shared space. So we have my husband's Norman Rockwell prints on the wall. But, you know, who are we kidding? This is really my space. And so those are going to go away. And I have some shadow box frames. I'm just going to put up some of my favorite layouts. And so that will be happening soon. Here on the counter, I have some scrapbooks of, I think most of these are Disney World or Disneyland, and they are all from different Vicki Boutin classes that I have taken. And the rest of this is little scrapbook books from way back in the day, my Zutter, and then these are all, my husband cut these for me. So these are for Coptic books. And so if you don't know what those are, I will show you one here shortly when we get to it in the room. So these two bins are probably the biggest opportunity in this section of my space. And so this is supposed to be chipboards and that's supposed to be mini books, but this has just become a hot mess of mostly storage bags or whatever that I want to throw in here, because I don't use chipboard a lot on my scrapbook pages anymore. I do have chipboard sheets here that I use to make mini books, but I just have had a hard time letting that chipboard go. So we'll see this round if I do better, because I would like to have one bin out of the next three I'm going to show you. I would like to be storage stuff. So this is mini books down here, just a bunch of shells that I've had. Some of them I've had forever. Some of my Zutter rings. And then this bin here is all my textiles. And so in here too, when I created this, I just tossed in all my mason jars of ribbon. They were out in my room for the longest time, and I just got tired of them. But this next go round, they might make it back out. Who knows? All right, and so the next one is my punches, and so I don't use punches very much, and so and my bin isn't very full, so I don't need to worry really about going through it because it's right sized, we'll say. And then down below, you'll see I have a couple of bins. I have the iris containers that have winter scrapbooking supplies. I have Vicky Bouton, a couple of those. Outdoor hiking, designer Christmas, regular Christmas, fall, and heritage, and summer. And so right now, those are all down underneath. And then as those topics come up, if I'm working on a lot of summer pages or Christmas pages, then those move closer to my workspace, and I'll show you where I put those. So here is a couple of work surfaces that'll probably go in the garage sale, as I don't use them very much anymore, though sometimes I do take this one on crops, just to protect whose ever table I'm using in case I get too messy. Then I have my cardstock, and you might be wondering why it's way over here. I just don't use cardstock that much. And so the colors that I use the most, black, white, craft, brown, they are over at my workstation. And then if I do need to use a color, I'll just come over here, grab the section, and take it back and find whatever matches the best. So my scoreboard is over here, and then my gel plate supplies. And so those are all really well contained in their bin, so that is good to go there as well. So, all right. So I have, quite a few windows in my room. It is, a half basement, whatever they call that. And so I try to use those as shelves as well. There's a couple of speakers up here that I swear they're still, connected to a DVR. And I can't remember the last time we did surround sound stuff. We're just not really that much into TV. So I am wanting to remove those as well and be able to use that shelf for something pretty. Okay, so this next section, I have some books that I've completed, and then I have this tin, and so if I need any of these, I'll just come and grab it and take it over to my station. I have a bunch of Bramble Fox, and so Bramble Fox are perspectives. They're a little bit thicker, lots of titles and images, and so very fun stuff. And then I have all my enamel dots that I would love to organize by color, but I just kept failing because there's so many, like case in point, so many packages that have such a mixture. It was hard to organize. And then I have my words, either word strips, chit chats, etc., that I can throw on layouts. And then behind that are my smaller letters. All right, and I think like the Bramble Fox, that's one thing I want to do because that section is just getting bigger and bigger, and this is getting pretty full, is I'll probably move that into somewhere different. Next is my paper. That is all of my pattern paper, not a whole lot. And when I say all, I just mean the stuff that is loose and separated or free from its collection. So again, until this gets full, I'm not going to worry about it. I do have a few paper pads in here. I do try to write on it with a Sharpie on the binding, so I know what it is. So, all right, next I have my shadow box frames that I'm going to use on my wall here shortly. And then the next section, some Pocket Life cards that I use more than the others, and some random by color labels, and other basic ephemera, stars, circles, that type of thing. And then this is my basic gray paper. And so I loved basic gray. It was like the best thing ever. And I bought way more than I needed. And most of this is, I think I have one. Yeah, I have one like full pack. I don't even know what pack this is. Bittersweet. And so I have one full pack. The rest is bits and pieces. And so trying to decide what to do with that. I'm thinking about making some Coptic books maybe with them, but they are one-sided, so not the best for Coptic books, but we'll see. And then I have my bin of flowers. Now, most of these are really old flowers, and I really could clean that up a bit and get rid of some because, like I said, a lot of them just aren't the style that I use anymore. Okay. I need to try to hold the phone steady. So this is my windowsill that does have a few things on it. So this is a Coptic book, and so when I say, if I can open it so you can see, it really is just paper in here. So that's why it's nice to use double-sided if possible. And then a little mini book, I guess it's a little on the larger side now, that I made for one of our trips to Denver to see our daughter. Then a few other pretty things, and then my washi 3-tiered basket. I don't use washi that much, but I do have it in here somewhat by color. Oh, I gotta fix a few things. Somewhat by color, so I can just kind of breeze through that if I need to. All right, the next section, my label maker, some thickers. These are thicker words. And then this is just a whole section of page protectors, different styles, pocket life, and regular. And then here is my letters, my thicker letters. And so when I first started organizing them, I created these. I just sewed down a page protector and created pockets so I can get 4 different styles of thickers in each pocket. And I might stick with this. I haven't decided yet. It's getting really, really full. And I don't know if it's because I need to go through and pick out the stuff that I'm just not going to use, or if I am going to go through with pouches and just organize them by color in several different pouches. So that is undecided. So the next section is my 6x6 or 6x8s. And then my different rings, different metal pieces. I have 3 little containers of those. I have an empty basket, which we all know what that means. A shopping opportunity. Yes, indeed. And then here are, whoops, hang in there with me, my embellishment pouches. So for instance, this one is summer outdoors. I have winter. I have basic shapes, just a bunch of different categories in here so I can just grab it as I need it. All right, and so some books that I have made, and then this is a storage system for sequins, for little bits and pieces. And so this was my solution for taking that types of things on the go to crops. And then I have some mini books, some books that I haven't even dug into yet. They still have their plastic on them. And then I would like to come up with something. I need another bin for my little IKEA rod up there, and something a little prettier up there. The last 2 sections here are all of my designer collections. So my Simple Stories, Vicki Boutin, Paige Evans, and then 49 and Market, or any kit club that I participate in, though I don't have a subscription right now to anything other than Bramble Fox. Yeah, that is what is in this left side of the room. So now we have this back counter. It is a nice big counter space. I have had times of covering it completely, and so it was really nice to add that area to the left, so that it really freed up the counter for drying things and for having different things going on at once. So up on the top of the counter, we'll just do it this way. That little corner to the left is just a world of opportunity over there, as I don't have much going on. I have my larger Misty, and then this bucket I just put in things that I have gotten really recently, and still haven't had a chance to use, so it's still in its packaging, and I'd like to try to use it before it gets worked into the system and is never seen again. So I have a lot of my stamping brushes and cleaners, that type of thing here. Now in this space, I used to have my die cutting machine over here, and I tried hanging a lot of my metal dies onto magnet frame, and I did not like it. And so that doesn't mean you won't. I know a lot of people do. And I think part of my problem is that I used a lot of my nested dies, and then I was just like always grabbing one size and I was knocking the rest off the wall. And then when it came to going to a crop, then I had to put them all on a magnet sheet into a to-go thing. And so it just didn't work for me. But I know a lot of people are successful with that. So up on the windowsill here, I have a lot of my Prima. I know the sun's kind of coming in, so maybe that's a better angle. So that is getting really full, so I need to figure out my flower storage situation. And I am going to be guest designing over at my creative scrapbook for June, July, and August. And so that limited edition kit that I'll be using comes with quite a bit of flowers. And so that little bin is not going to hold what I need it to hold. So the flowers is on my list. A little mini book I did, and then some other flowers in jars. And then my photo printer, and then here, this is just a little photo box with either my favorite photos or things that I still need to scrapbook. It has different sections, vacation and my favorite people and all that kind of fun stuff. And so that is in here, as well as my photo paper is in the back. I have a little spinner here that has my paper clips and little doodads that you can use as paper clips, and then little hangy fun things for book doodads, etc. Another little mini book, and then some fun things that I received at crops, or my daughter painted the little dragon. The little sunglasses are from a crop I went to last year, 3 Chicks in Spokane, and Vicki Booten was there, and I won her a pair of sunglasses from her, so it was very fun. And then my little mixed media 3-tiered basket, and it is a bit of a hot mess, and so I just need to go through it and see what is dried out and get rid of anything that is no longer usable. I do use the press and seal to try to hold on to it as long as possible. But sometimes it's just, they're kind of, some of them, are kind of large containers for as quickly as they dry out. So a lot of them I did get my money's worth, so I can't complain too much. So, all right, my little magnet wall for my favorite layout of the moment. And so far, right now, that's this layout of my husband and my daughter. And This little corner, I'll back up a little bit and then come in closer again. So this is where a lot of my pop of color, stickles, little containers of liquid pearls and Nuvo drops and some watercolors. These are all boxes of ink pads. Let me see if I can open one one-handed. These guys by color. Yeah, a few more texture paste types of things. Some stencil butter. And then up here I have a lot of Lindy Magicals and Shimmers paints. And then I have my little box of swatches organized by color for those. And then up top, a couple little mini books, some buttons. Yeah, I think we're getting close to the end of this section. I'm not the best at putting layouts away, and so I figure if it's like nicely, tidily stacked, that's good enough, at least for now. And then this is where I do my die cutting. And so I have the paper that I'm more typically going to use, some craft, some vellum, basic white, and then some different gel prints that I've done. And yeah, and then all of my die cuts. I am thinking of moving those, so when I get to that spot, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. And then these boxes just contain a lot of basically white, like leaves and foliage and flowers and some little backgrounds that I can tuck into things so that they're ready to go if I need something like that for a layout. And we are almost to the end because there is my sewing machine. Now that is my to-go cart. So I don't really keep much on it other than my punches and my threads and such for the sewing machine, just because if I take it for a crop, then I'm constantly having to empty it off, etc. But Pete did make that top for me so I could keep my sewing machine on it. And yeah, that has been handy. So this is the other side of my desk, so more paper storage. And I mentioned when we were going through that first section of cabinets, those iris containers. So if it has Christmas in it, I'm doing Christmas layouts, then I bust open that iris container and I divide it up into the empty slots you see there on the left. The rest of these is specialty papers, vellums, and transparencies, my wood paper, my black and white patterned paper, because I do like to throw some black and white into some layering clusters around photos every once in a while. And then I have my white, my ivory, some silver and gold, black. I have some mixed media backgrounds that I have made, but I haven't found a use for yet. So things like that. Then I have my browns and craft. And then I think I have a few gel plate prints that I've done. And then that bottom section is for paper that it might have a grid to it, or it might have a notebook look to it, that type of thing that I might be able to use for journaling or just for that different look on a scrapbook page. All right, this is the top of my workspace. I have my cutter, my heat gun, my Tim Holtz glass mat that I use quite a bit. I have a few trays towards the back to hold the 12 by 12s of whatever collection I'm working with at the time. Some paper clips. Picked the pictures for the layout I'm using at the time of my wonderful daughter there. And then my favorite tools go in this bucket that is doing double work because it's also holding up my lamp. And then I have this little container that has mostly my adhesives, my masking tape and my double-sided tape. A lot of my foam is in here. My notebook for when I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And then I have the rub-ons that I use the most. And then I have film strips that I use quite a bit up here as well. Next is I have the things that I use often enough where I don't want to dig out of a drawer, but I don't use them as often. So extra scissors for when I can't find my regular ones when I've buried them. And my water I use all the time. And different sprays that I use for splattering. This creamies I keep over here, crow's feet, because I use it the most frequently for black splatters. My hand sanitizer, which also works to clean my Tim Holtz work surface. That works really well for that. As well as some Copic markers that I still have to play with. I really should move them over into my use before you put away bin because it is, I need to use them. And so other than that, I have my buckets that I tend to keep my collections and such in. And I have my little trays that I keep the embellishments in, as well as this little guy that is really good for separating embellishments. So I am thinking, or I am going to, because this solid surface, I think I'm going to cover it with this contact paper because when I'm filming and such, it just feels really dark. And so next time you see this space, hopefully it will be covered. All right, we're getting close to the end. So just a few drawers here to go through. Now, probably about half of the next little bit I'm going to show you is either needs to be touched up and cleaned, or it just needs to be rethought. And so this one just needs to be, I think, touched up, and this one and the drawer, the middle drawer, I think I just want to go through and make sure that the things are where they should be, because this drawer is a lot more accessible than this one. I mean, obviously, I will just have to step back a foot, and I think I can manage, but still, it would be nice just to be able to open a drawer next to me and grab something. This drawer, I totally want to jettison, and so I like having all my cleaning rags. There's some down below as well. I tend to use those, particularly when I'm cleaning up mixed media stuff. I tend to use those a lot more than paper towels because I can just throw these in the washing machine. And I do have my smaller scoreboard over here. But the rest of this, some glitter, bunch of pencils and pens and Cricut markers that I don't use that much. Maybe I'll put my Cricut markers over by my Cricut. Maybe that would work. Anyway, so I want to empty this drawer, and this is where I'm thinking I'm going to put my dies, my metal dies. And I know it's a couple feet away from my die cutting machine, but this way I could sort through it. I can check it against the layout I'm working on, make sure I like it, and then take it over to the machine. I'm going to give that a shot. And the next drawer is even worse. So bags, some adhesive that wouldn't fit in my adhesive drawer, more rags. I use a lot of rags. Some tissue paper because I use tissue paper to back photos on my layout, but it doesn't need to be a crinkly mess. All right, so this is the middle drawer. It is shallower, and so that's the other issue is I think I'm trying to put things in here that get it jammed up, and I just need to stop doing that. And so the best way to do that is to move it into a different drawer. So it has my ink pad, foamy daubers, extra scissors, my scraping tool, and then a bunch of gems and such that I would like in a different drawer. So this one is a work in progress. This next section, mostly Tim Holtz, and this is mostly done. I have everything labeled. I might go back though and mark and show the colors, so it's not just reading it. It's would maybe be a little bit more visual for me. And then I have just smaller ink pads of metallics, archival, a few close to my heart, my distress pencils, distress inks in here, and then this little box has my swatches for Tim Holtz. All right. And then under here, this one I want to take another look at, though it's not the most convenient to get in since it's right where I stand. So I don't mind not or having things in here that I don't use all the time, but it just feels like it needs a purpose. So it does have my stencils here, my 12 by 12 stencils, my scraps, my foam, some empty project holders, and then some projects that I haven't finished. And then just all my paper that I at some point want to fussy cut is in here. One more row. So here is a lot of my adhesive. And so my liquid adhesive is up front, and then my refills. And then a lot of this, I think some of it is still good. Some of it, I don't know. Some of it I got it like Tuesday morning, or I just don't really trust it. And so I need to go through and maybe edit some of that. Now this is all of my stamps, and so all of these over here I use for mixed media projects, and then these over here are more nature and alphabets and travel, that type of thing. And then down here, my twines, my little doodads that wouldn't fit in that yellow album that I showed you earlier, the extras, things like this. And then a lot of my eyelets, brads, that type of thing in here by color or by metal. So that is it for that drawer. All right, I realized I showed you the top of that back unit, but I didn't show you the cabinets. Now, this one is where I keep my brother and my Cricut. And so the mats I have hanging on the backs of the doors, and then they pull out, which is handy. So I might move those Cricut pens over here. I have little boxes for my tools, a couple brayers, because I often struggle to get my paper to stick to my mats, and so the brayers help with that. But this corner one is my Lazy Susans for um, my sprays and some ink pads that I don't use very often, my paint brushes for more uh, hobby types of painting rather than scrapbook painting. And then I also have some pocket life cards and mats that I have cut down from scrap pieces of paper that I thought, oh, that'll help me get organized. I'll have all these mats available, and then I never use them. And so, yeah, that I think is about that. So thank you all for hanging out with me for this last 40 minutes or so. It's a little bit longer than I anticipated, but it was fun to take a look at everything with fresh eyes. I've already done some of the changes since I had a couple days off. So yeah, I'll catch you on the follow-up video. And if you like the content, go ahead and hit subscribe or a thumbs up, and I will see you soon. Thank you.